Welcome to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, where we talk all things good food, good business, and good cars. And now, here is your host, Arnold Gasita, founder and CEO of Petra Automotive Products. Let's roll.
All right, we are at the Me Plus Ultra event here in Charleston, South Carolina, having a great time. We literally were just talking about probably one of the best Me Plus Ultra Business and Bourbons cigars event that we've been to, probably the biggest crowd that we've had. We thought it would be a great idea for us to set up and interview a couple of the guests here since they're here already. And so we got one of the longtime players in this. You've always been involved, or when did you come in? I came in the second one.
I came in, I don't know. I think this is my sixth one. So
They've had 9?
Yeah.
So you came in on the third one.
Yeah.
So you came in the one after me.
Yeah.
I know we've seen each other for a while.
First one.
Not only that, you're the best dressed, one of the best dressed here. Cool, So Steve, where are you from?
Originally from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Really? Is that where you were born?
Yeah. Born and raised in Charlotte.
No kidding.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Went through all your junior high and high school and all that there?
Yep.
What'd you do when you graduated?
I went to work for General Mills in Southwest Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia.
Doing?
The consumer food sales rep.
Nope. Is that you were going to like grocery stores?
Yeah. We'd go to grocery stores. We'd make sure the facings were right. We would go, they have a thing called a planogram where you have so many facings per SKU, and you'd make sure you had your shelf space and sell promotions.
Were you like the cereal police?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You walked into the store and said, this is not facing.
Oh, yeah. It's not right. Yeah. The Cheerios, Lucky Charms, all that kind of stuff back
No kidding.
back in the day. Yeah.
So you didn't go to college?
Yes.
Oh, you did. So that was during college?
No, that was after. So I went to play baseball in college, went to University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Played there a couple years, then transferred to University of North Carolina, Charlotte. And then after that, went into consumer food sales for 3 years.
Did you do any sales? Did you have any job during the college career?
No,
Time you're playing baseball, so we were focused on that.
Yeah.
How about high school? Like, what was your first job? Even if it was like a paper route, what was your first job? Or you had
My first
or
job.
your first job was the
a
cereal
busboy.
company.
It was a busboy.
Okay.
Yeah, in a fish camp in Charlotte. Yeah, busing.
How old were you?
14. It's something like that.
I cannot tell you how many people I interview. I guess our age, and they're like, yeah, I was 14 years old. I was out selling vegetables in the streets of San Francisco.
I did do before that though. You might reminded me. I did do had a little paper route too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because that's like
Ride your bike, go and deliver the papers. Right. Yeah, that was probably like 9.
See, that's what I mean. Most successful people, they start early. They figure out. I got both of my sons are entrepreneurs, and they were all doing all these side kind of deals, and
Yeah.
they were finding a way to
Oh yeah.
to make it happen. I'm actually taking it back. I think all 3, my daughter too. She on her own found a way that she can take her clothes that she didn't want anymore to sell.
Yeah.
So I think it happened all the way. All right. So you're a baseball player. You go to college, graduate from college, and you get a job at
Yeah, General Mills.
General Mills.
Yeah.
And you sold all cereals, or you had certain brands?
No, just General Mills cereals.
Okay.
So yeah, so those, and then the super moist cakes, the shark bites and berry bears, the fruit snack things. They had Yoplait yogurt back at the time. So yeah, it was a great experience. Great to be involved in a corporation like that.
How long were you there?
I did that for 3 years, and then since I played sports through college, I always thought I would like to sell sporting goods. Right, it's cool stuff, stuff we'd wear and everything. And they said you can't get into that because it was manufacturer's rep and you had to know somebody or whatever. So I went to a Sporting Goods Manufacturers Association trade show in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It was a national show. Then went there and took my resume and walked around and talked to a bunch of people, the Nikes of the world and those folks, and just walked around and ended up getting on with a guy. He was an independent Sporting Goods Manufacturers rep. And did that. It wasn't what I thought it was. And then the person I was working for wasn't what I was looking for, put it that way. And I'll tell you some stories after. It was like I got to get out of this gig here. So then I got into television. in advertising, first foray into advertising.
So, cereal, sports,
Yep.
advertisement
Yep.
for TV,
Selling for yeah.
selling TV ads for a local TV station.
Yep.
All right. How did that go?
It went great.
Did you like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
You're selling show business. I remember the first time we went in, and this was when Star Trek was big, right? And this was an independent station. It was like a top 10 independent in the country, like WGN in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
This was right up there with them before you had cable and all the other, other outlets. I remember the first meeting went in, and there was a new Star Trek Next Generation coming out or whatever. And they had it in surround sound and the big screen and everything. The room's vibrating. I was like, this is freaking cool. We're selling.
You're in show business.
We're in show, yeah, we were, yeah. And so I did that. Actually, did that for 6 years, and then this is when I started to get into the entrepreneurial part of it. I started talking to a buddy of mine about starting our own business, and he had I went to high school with him. He had owned his own business, had his master's degree, did a stone and landscape company, and ended up, he wanted to go into the military because his father and grandfather and everybody was in the military. He was 29. And so you don't go into the military at 29. So he ends up getting into the Army, and he becomes a tank commander. He's over in Korea, and we're emailing and stuff. And he goes, he says he's coming back. I said, what are you going to do when you get out? He goes, I don't know. I said, let's look at getting into business together. So we looked to go back in that stone and landscape business. And by the time he had left the Army and come back, there were like 20 of them in the area. So there was a lot of competition. There was 4 when he was doing it. So then he goes, we start talking, trying to figure it out. He says, what about ice? I mean, what do you mean ice? He says, the ice that you buy at the convenience stores. I don't know anything about that. So we started doing a little bit of research, and he said he worked at a place called the Happy Store in Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina. And he said the Triangle Ice guy was always coming in bragging about how well they were doing. Like, I don't know, let's look into it. So a little bit longer.
Water and freeze. Right?
Water, freezing it, yeah. And so we got an SBA loan. We went to 5 banks because nobody had ever.
Now, were you working at the time? You were still doing the advertisement?
No, I stopped. I stopped doing that to get this thing up and running.
Okay, so you stopped it. But while you're having these conversations, you're still working at the...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, while we're having the conversation.
So when you guys finally decide that you're going to do ice,
yeah.
You quit and you're going for
I bounced, and we started getting that thing set up.
Gutsy, right?
Yeah.
No fear?
And if you don't, you don't know unless you do it.
Yeah,
right?
I love it. That's the way. That's how entrepreneur business are.
We ended up having the contract for the Carolina Panthers stadium. We hadn't made any ice. We didn't even know how it was made.
Oh my God!
I got a lot of stories on that.
So the guy says, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And you guys are great. And you look at your buddy and you go, "We have no ice."
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
We've bought ice machines. We learned how to do it, and we did this in.
And you fulfilled the contract
in like March or February, something like that. So we didn't have to start delivering ice until like August when they started preseason games. So in the meantime, we bought the ice machines, went and had them shipped in and set them up. We had to buy this ice merchandisers, the boxes that are out in front of convenience stores. Well, there were 36 of them in the stadium. So we bought 36 ice merchandisers. Well, when they call the previous company and say, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, it's a Big Sky Ice Company. They're coming in, and they said, well, we got our ice merchandisers there. I said, you need to get them out, and we're going to put ours in. We had our ice merchandisers shipped to the stadium. So they're sitting out there. Well, what had happened was when the stadium was built, they put the ice merchandisers in the concession stands on the outside of the concourse, right? They put them in before they built it all out. So when they built it all out with all the counters and everything, you could not physically get those merchandisers out because the space wasn't big enough. So we go and we did a deal with the company, and we went and got the serial numbers and gave them an offer to buy those ice merchandisers. And so we did, because they couldn't get them out. They had no choice. Well, now we have 36 brand new ice merchandisers that we got to take to our yard. And I think that I remember this, the guy goes from the other company said, what are you going to do with those other merchandisers? And we said, well, they got to go somewhere. They're going somewhere in this city. And they were like the big ice company there.
Wow.
So anyway,
How long did you do that?
Did that for about 6 years or so. Then we were
Selling ice.
selling ice. We did the small bag, 7-pound bags, 20-pound bags, and 40-pound bags. So we would deliver to convenience stores, restaurants, caterers. We did Panther Steak.
Did you end up selling it?
Yeah, we sold it.
You know that, what's that saying you can sell ice to ice? What was that right?
Yeah.
I think you literally
That's what we were doing, yeah.
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 You were literally selling ice to
Yeah.
people that could make ice.
Yep, that's it.
That's great, man. That's a neat one for us, All right, so what'd you do after that?
So, the reason I got out of that is I needed to have a life again, because when everybody's partying, we were 24/7 sometimes, spending the night there and everything. And it got to be where we were trying to find somebody to run it. And we found people with work ethic and no common sense, or common sense and no work ethic. So I went through about 6 people there, and it's like, we need to get a life. And then we started having the kids. And so we sold that. And then I got back into television.
Was your theme song Ice Ice Baby?
Actually, we had the small truck called a hot shot truck, where they would call you. It was a smaller truck, and you could go, and if one bar or restaurant at night called in downtown Charlotte called, we were going to get a few more calls. So if we'd have kept it, I probably would have had speakers put on it and lights and music coming in when they pulled up.
Yeah, Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Ice Ice Baby coming down the road. All right, so you sold that, and so what do you go off to do now?
So I did a regional sales position with a television station out of Greensboro, North Carolina, and I still lived in Charlotte. And then we'd go up there a couple days a week and do that gig. And then the media business is small, and once you know some people, they travel around or whatever. So it's a small community, kind of like automotive. And so I had this one person that I'd worked with back at the first TV station, was at a CBS station in Charlotte, and said, "Why don't you come and work here?" So, okay, we talked and did a deal. So I went there. And so I was in Charlotte for 10 years. I was a sales rep, account executive, and then a local sales manager over a team. And then the company at the time asked me to move and run sales departments in Cincinnati. I said no to that. New Orleans, because I wasn't going to leave anywhere up from Charlotte. And, we were settled. And said no to New Orleans. I got relatives down there, which is the story we're going to be telling here in a minute. Then they asked me to go to Louisville. And this was kind of interesting, because I told them no at first. And then my wife and I were standing in our driveway. I told them no on like a Thursday. And this was maybe Friday or Saturday morning, something like that. And I said, "It feels like we're getting directed to go to Louisville." And she looked at me and she goes, "I feel it too." And it was like, it wasn't from the company. It was like, it's God's going, we just had this time to go. It's time to go. So we were supposed to be back in Charlotte in 2 years, because the progression of management was going to go up. And then I'd go to Louisville, get that place turned around, because it was not a good situation, and get the sales department turned around, and then come back to Charlotte and run the sales department there where I was. Well, the company gets sold 2 years into it, so it stops all the progression and everything. So I'm in Louisville. That's how I actually got here with Me Plus Ultra and Business Bourbon and Cigars. And that's a whole nother story. I'm meeting these guys, which was awesome. Did that and stayed there for 6 years, and actually thought about doing my own business a couple years after I got there, because I always liked helping people and helping clients. Business owners get bad advice on advertising. They don't know what to do. There's so many options and so many things, especially now. There's so many places you can put ads. They're like, "What do I do?" And then they think they know, and they waste a lot of money. So I was seeing that, and when clients would come into our station, I'd start talking to them. Now, granted, there were 2 more levels below me. You had a sales rep and local sales manager and digital sales manager than me. And they were texting me, "What do you think about this? What should I do here?" And I was telling my wife about it. And, we got the station, or the sales department turned around. And I was going in there every day and just putting out fires and managing TV inventory or whatever, and wasn't having that much fun anymore. And she goes, Mitzi, my wife, she says, "If you don't do it now, you'll never do it." Doing my own thing. So I'm like, okay. So another quick kind of God story. Before we went to Louisville, I'll tell you this. So on that Saturday, we We're in the driveway, and it felt like we were getting directed up there. I go to a Panther game on Sunday, and I'm going with my buddies. We're in the suite. The TV station had a suite and everything, and I'm walking in, and I look up, and I'm kind of, they're behind me or in front of me or whatever. I'm kind of walking by myself, and I look up, and I'm like, dude, you got to help me out. What do I need to do? Do I need to go to Louisville?
It's always good when we call it God, dude. I think it's a personal.
It's yeah. I mean,
it's like a real prayer.
Yeah.
Like, man, I need you.
So I'm sitting in my seat with my buddy, and they're playing the Falcons. And I start watching this one guy for the Falcons. And I never really watched this one person. I watched him for like 3 sets of plays, right? He's a wide receiver. And I look at him like, why am I watching this dude? I open up the program, and I scroll down, and it's Jacob Tamney, 6'4", 230 pounds, been in the league 9 years. And it says Kentucky. And I went, right. And so I go down the whole Falcons roster, UCLA, Texas A&M, nothing. I look on the Panther side, nothing. All
one
of college,
player
and the one
that was
player.
from Kentucky that you were focused on.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
started laughing. Yeah. I'm like, all right, dude. And so I called the VP up, and I said, I'll throw my name back in the hat. He goes, you sure? I said, yeah.
How long were you in that job in Kentucky before you opened your own company?
6 years.
6 years. And then from there, you opened your own company and never looked back.
Yep. Yep.
How long you've had it now?
A little over 3 years now.
That's fantastic.
So one more quick story. So we're at the beach in September. This is where I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the name of my company is the Media Hawk Group. And Hawk was my nickname in college because Tomanchek sounds like Tomahawk kind of. They started calling me Hawk, Tommy Hawk, Tomahawk. So it was Hawk. So I wanted to use a hawk in it. And the logo I wanted, I told my wife, I said, I want when the hawk is going down into the water and grabbing something with its talons out, like it's lifting up. Not necessarily going and killing something.
Yeah.
But just lifting up and rising up. So we're on the beach, and we were talking about this in the business. And she looks up and she goes, that looks like a hawk. It's like, there's not really hawks on the beach. And she goes, look at his head. It was an osprey, which is a seahawk.
Okay.
And I look up, I'm like, that's an osprey. And they're huge. They're very big. And this thing flies around, and all of a sudden, it flies down toward the water. And it does that. I'm getting goosebumps now. It goes that. The logo that I wanted.
And it
Picture flies up, goes around, and then takes off. And she looked at me, she goes, well, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
Right.
There it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Tell people what your company does.
So, when you're, if you're searching for a product, right, on the internet or whatever, or you're even if you were talking about a product and then you start seeing ads for it, that's what we did. So
You put bugs in my phone?
yeah. It's that, but it depends on what the client needs and what their budget is on what we can do and implement for them. But we tailor everything to our clients because everybody's in a different situation, be it automotive, be it heating and air company or a flooring store, or we've got a 7 franchise outdoor living space company that does decks, screen porches, patios, things like that. So it all depends on who they're targeting.
Is that like a geofencing kind of thing?
We do that, but also it's behavioral. So for example, like we'll do a decent amount of connected television. What I mean by that is your big screen is connected to the internet. And your phone and your iPad and your computer are all connected to that IP address.
You're
right?
about to tell me something scary, right?
Yeah. So if we want to target you, we know by your behaviors, and when you don't read all the terms and conditions when you're
never.
downloading stuff. You go, yeah. Well, they're tracking you. They are tracking you. So I can see if we're in houses side by side and we want to get to you and not me, then I can serve you an ad on that big screen. Well, then we know if you're streaming on Paramount Plus or Fox or whatever, something like that. And then you see that ad. Well, we know you saw that ad. And so we'll start serving you ads on your other devices. That's where it connects the dots. Then check this out. So then if it's a car dealership, right? Auto dealership, it's got a pretty large footprint, right? The store and the parking lot and all that kind of stuff. So we know you saw that. And if you have your location services turned on, which is about 80% of the people on your phone, we know if you set foot in that dealership, so we could connect that dot. Then if you click on an ad that we serve you, right, or we know that you went to that dealership's website, in their CRM, it'll say it came from MediaHawk. And so then you can track that customer to conversion. And that's where you've got the...
You're like the big brother that's watching.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know,
It's
and really serving you what you want anyway.
Yeah.
I know, because I always say, you know, I make fun as I go to look at socks. And the next thing I know,
Yeah.
every device, everywhere I go, it's telling me about socks.
Well, you've probably gotten ads for things around here in Charleston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it knows you're here.
It's crazy.
We can look back, say, for example, if there's a car dealership in somewhere in, well, we're in South Carolina, right? And so say it's in Columbia where the capital is, and the University of South Carolina Gamecocks play there. We can go back and look at the home schedule at Williams-Brice Stadium and get the IPs of the people, the IP addresses of the people that were around that stadium on those days, and we can serve them ads. We can look back in time and capture that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Data.
Yeah.
It's the future.
It's data, but however, data is only good if you're selling your stuff and you can connect it.
Yeah,
And when
data.
Yeah, and when you run a campaign, what's going on in the dealership, what's going on in the company or the business or the store, are you seeing more people? Are you seeing new people? Or more people engaging on your website on certain days of the week when we're running? Like, we'll set up television ads. We just don't run them wherever. We'll pick certain newscasts or programs on certain days and run that at a certain frequency in conjunction with everything else we're doing. So it's like a NFL game. If you're watching it, you'll probably see a Chevy Silverado ad 5 times because they know that truck buyer is watching that game. So they want you to know what the deal is on the Chevy Silverado.
You're such a kind, successful, happy. You almost are like Latino. Are you Latino?
No.
Okay. It's like you're almost Latino, you know what I mean? Just work hard, successful, happy, helping people. I mean, you got this great, loving personality. It really does shine forth from you. So let's ask you some fun questions.
Yep.
What was your first car?
First car that I was able to drive was a Ford Granada.
Okay, I remember that.
It was silver and had like a burgundy top on it.
Ford Granada, like a 78?
Yeah, something like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I only know that because my dad had one.
Yeah, it was when I was in high school. Yeah. So yeah, I drove that.
All right, what's your dream car? In the Steve Museum, what is the car that needs to be in that museum?
I kind of like those Porsche Panameras.
Okay.
Those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nice and sharp.
sleek. Yeah, sharp.
Yeah.
I've never been one to, want a Lambo or any of that. I just doesn't, I don't know. Just something nice. I wouldn't go crazy on anything.
I'm the Lambo guy, Steve.
Yeah. I'm not.
I saw a guy the other day, and I said, he had one of those lime green Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
And I said, lime green, and it's a beautiful car. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's almost like a classic Lamborghini kind of color.
Yeah.
He said, man, I bought very, very successful guy. So he shows me the picture to every car he owns, truck, Toyota, motorcycle, all lime green. I'm like, wow. Okay, of all the places you visited, which one do you like the most?
Italy.
Italy. Any particular part of Italy?
Florence.
Okay, I like
Florence. But there's one, Lucca, a small city, walled city. And the odd thing, I was walking in there. As soon as we walked in, it felt like I had been there, but I never had.
Yeah.
There was some kind of feeling of I've been here before.
Wow.
It was interesting.
Italy is probably the number one place everybody talks about how they love. And I love Italy.
Yeah.
There is something about Italy.
Yeah,
For
there
sure.
is.
Maybe it's all connected to the Rome thing.
Maybe so.
I don't know. Who knows? Okay, bucket list of place that you would like to go to that you've not gone to. It's on your bucket list. Like you want to go here. You got to go here.
Spain or Greece.
Okay, both of those great.
Yeah.
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 Okay, that's
I've been there. Been Caribbean and done those kind of things and everything. Just, it's not something off the wall like Antarctica or anything like that.
yeah.
Just I like rich history, older places.
Yeah,
That just got that great
character.
and feeling.
It does. You walk around anywhere. You could take a little alley in Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
and and it's just great. You could do that in Venice. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, same thing. You take all those little alleyways in Venice, and you can stop at a little restaurant with 4 tables inside, 2 outside, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the owner's talking to you, and you order wine, and there's no wine list. He just brings you whatever the wine is, and pours it out, and that whole ambiance is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. All right, we gotta end it with the alligator story.
Okay. So my mom's side of the family is from South Louisiana, so Cajun country. And we would travel down there about every summer or so. There's actually 2 alligator stories. One of them's quick, and then I get to the other one, the one that I told you about. The first one, I was with one of my cousins, and we were going, we went alligator hunting. This is a long time ago, before you couldn't really do it.
Right.
It's not legal. So anyway, so we're out in the marsh, and we come to like a lake area before you get to the bay, and you can see the oil rigs out in the Gulf. And it's the most beautiful night. I think we actually may have chatted about this. It was a beautiful night, no moon, but from horizon to horizon, it was stars. It was like you're in a snow globe, just a globe of stars. But anyway, my cousin shines the light. We're in an airboat, and he shines the light, and you can see all these little, he goes, Steven, see all them little balls of fire? I'm like, yeah. He goes, them's gators. And you're sitting there, I'm like, there's a lot of freaking alligators. I mean, a lot.
At night.
At night, right? This is probably midnight or whatever. Yeah. Then he shines and he goes, see them eyes out there, how far apart they are? I said, yeah. He goes, that's a big gator. Like, we don't need to get near the big gator. But anyway, so fast forward, I was probably 21, 22, something like that. Take a friend of mine from high school. We were great buddies. Take him down there, then just me and him, and go run around. We're going to go frogging, where you go catch frogs. You can't gig them down there. You can't break the skin. And so you lean over the front of the boat and grab the frogs with your hands, and then you have frog legs later on the next day or whatever. So we're getting ready to go out. We're beside a crawfish pond, and there's a channel that goes out into the bight. And so I was talking to him. I said, hey, it may be cool to bring an alligator back to North Carolina. And he goes, well, we can do that. This is another cousin Patrick. And so we get in the boat, and we're going down this little channel, and we got a big spotlight, right? Because we're going to go catch frogs. And he goes, there's a gator. And he goes, Steven, drive the boat. So I get and drive the boat up to it. And Patrick goes to grab the alligator over the side of the boat, and his arm goes down, and he comes back up, and he's laughing. He's like, oh, like, what are you laughing at? He goes, his neck is too big. He goes, well, we're going to get him. And I'm like, okay. He goes, we'll just sit here. He's going to pop up in a minute. So we sat there for a few minutes, and he shines the light and sees he goes, see them bubbles over there? He's over there. And so it's underneath some overhanging trees. And so I drive the boat up, and he gets this alligator. Well, it's okay size. I thought it was a small alligator. We've seen the other bigger alligators on television. Yeah. It's a smaller alligator. So we are close to the truck. So we go back and put him in the truck, and we put, rope around his snout. So we go out frogging and stuff and catching frogs. And we see this other alligator. It's a smaller alligator. So he's probably, 3 feet long, 3.5 feet long from head to tail. So we get that alligator, and he ran around the boat all night. The thing came off his snout. He wasn't going to, it wasn't big enough to really attack us or anything. So he's running around the boat all night. Well, we get back, and we're bringing the boat in, and then we got to go get this other alligator out of the truck. And so we get that alligator, and he got the rope off his snout, and my cousin goes to pick him up. And of course, the alligator, which is a lot bigger than the smaller one we have, he goes trying to bite him. And of course, my cousin goes, oh, he's laughing. He thinks it's funny.
Is your cousin okay?
Yeah, he's good. He's a little, my other cousin is,
it's like, his mom was just an alligator trying to bite me. It's okay.
He's a little cuckoo, they would say. So he starts laughing. He goes, we got to get the gator out of the truck. So he gets an old broom handle and sticks it down, and the gator bites on it. He lifts him out and throws him back in the water. So then we got this smaller alligator, right? So we're leaving, I think, the next day. So I go to my aunt's house, and we had him in an onion sack and put him on the back porch. Well, the next morning we wake up, and my aunt's there, and I said, guess what we got? She's what? I said, look on the back porch. She said, what are you doing with the alligator? And we didn't know at the time it was illegal to do what we were doing.
Yeah.
Transport an alligator.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We were young. So anyway,
We don't have any government official watching.
no,
this show.
it's good. It's a long time ago, statute of limitations. So anyway, so we put this, have the alligator in the onion sack and have him in the floorboard of the car, and we're driving back to North Carolina. We stop off and go tour the USS Alabama and the submarine that's there, and then drive on back to North Carolina. Well, I get up, I drop my buddy off in South Carolina, and where he was living, going to school, and get home, and my mom comes out of the front door, and she goes, "Hey," I said, "guess what I got?" She goes, "You don't have an alligator, do you?" And I said, "Did your sister tell you?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "You have an alligator?" I said, "Yeah." So I put him in the tub the first night, right, thinking he's water in the tub. Then the next night,
Steve wants a pet alligator.
pet alligator, just to bring him
Yeah,
back.
because it's a normal thing.
It is, just, it's show and
Put a
tell.
rope, walk him around.
Yeah. Didn't get that far. So put him in the tub the first night. Next night, I put him in a cardboard box outside because it's summer and it's hot enough. And try to feed him some chicken on some fishing line. He's not eating. I didn't know alligators will go, 2-3 weeks without eating. Then they'll eat. So then I take him over. There was a girl I was dating at the time. And I take this alligator over. I was going to go show my buddies and stuff, and take this alligator over to her apartment, and her roommate was walking in. And I said, "Hey, open the door," unlock the door. And I took the alligator, and he still had tape or whatever, it was a snout or rubber band around him. And I tossed the alligator in the apartment. And girl I was dating is to the right, and she goes, "What is that? You better get that thing out of here." She's sitting there studying, and all of a sudden this alligator's there. Well, the alligator gets up on all fours and runs down the hall and goes under her bed. So the alligator's under your bed.
She's screaming, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I went and got him, and he showed him and took him around. But I released him in Southport, North Carolina, where there's a lot of alligators and everything.
So Steve, if I said, "Hey, let's go alligator hunting now," would you do it?
Oh yeah, sure.
With the crazy cousin?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
He'd be our tour guide.
yeah. Yeah. Now you just have to do it and buy tags, alligator tags, and do it the legal way. But yeah.
Wow. There's a part of it that says, let's do this, right? And let's record it and take Butch, But anyway, real quick before we leave.
Yep.
Young person, trying to figure out what they're going to do in life. How does he become the next Steve?
He needs to listen to people that have been there. And of course, when we're growing up, you listen, you need to listen to me. Okay, goes in one ear, out the other, and you have to experience it. But listen, and there's so many more resources out there right now at the tip of your fingers. No matter what you want to do, you can find somebody that knows about it and engage with them and ask them about it. But just be open-minded and be open to, nowadays, we were talking earlier, younger folks aren't challenged to figure things out. They're not. A lot of stuff's done for them. There's things are easier, but they're not put in situations. They're
Even with AI now, it's thinking for you.
Yeah, it is. And that's probably not good.
No, I don't think so.
But here's the thing with AI. We use it, right? However, you can't just use AI and then put it out there. You have to humanize it because it doesn't look, and the algorithm will know that it's just straight AI. But you got to humanize it so it's like, okay, this is a human doing this.
Yeah.
You can use it, but you have to use it wisely.
You're using it as a reference almost, and you take it and massage it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Where some people could take it and really run with it because they think that's, it's easy.
Yeah.
But I like your point. Listen, I remember when I started in this career 34 years ago, and it didn't happen right at 34 years, but through my career, I had this boss, great mentor of mine, and I might have said this story before, but he came to me one day and said, I had just gotten this great promotion. I mean, I was young and I was in charge, and I had power and authority. And he came in and sat first day in the corner office, comes in, sits in front of my desk. He says, "Don't do anything." I said, "What?" He says, "Don't do anything. Just go hear people out.
Yeah.
Travel and hear people." He goes, "There's plenty to do. Don't get me wrong. Before you do anything, go hear them."
Mm-hmm.
I thought it's the best advice
It is.
anybody's ever given me. And that's what I did. For a year, I went and listened to people's complaints, some valid, some not, but I listened. He would also say, sometimes you just need to listen. Even if it's not real, a valid complaint, you just need to listen.
Absolutely.
Right? Sometimes just getting off their chest means a lot.
Absolutely.
And so, those kind of things. And I think, that's a great way to end it, is listen.
Well, listen, and also like with situation here with Me Plus Ultra and Business Bourbon Cigars and things, find those partnerships and support system in business. Doesn't matter what business, but in business, and also like you've got Veronica, I've got Mitzi. Have that support system there with family and spouses or significant others. That's very important. I'm very blessed in that respect, and as you are as well.
For sure, that's true. Brother, thanks for being on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
excited.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, your main source for all things good and fun, business, food, and cars. If you like this episode, make sure to rate us and subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please leave a message at the link below. Till next time, happy eating.